am live. Alright. Alright, Facebook, what are you doing? Okay, let me just double check. There we go. Okay, so I'm hoping that's me being live to you. Now, let's see. I wonder if I can see some comments. Yes, I can. Okay, so as always, I'm just going to wibble on for a bit to allow people who want to attend to get here. I know there's been some issues with time zones. I haven't been very clear about where I am. Oh, Claire's here! Hooray! I'm so happy to see you, Claire. Hello, and Sandra as well. You made it. Fantastic. Good stuff, ladies. Thank you so much for being here live with me today. I was about to say, if you are live, then do say hello in the comments so I know that you're here. If you're watching this on replay, it would be great if you could put replay in the comments so I know that you're catching up with this. I'm going to be with you for about 15 minutes today. I don't want this training to be too long. And today we're talking all about accents. Why are we talking about accents? Well, a couple of reasons really. One is that over the past year or so, I've had, I think, 2 or 3 people contact me about changing their accent or improving their accent, which totally surprised me. And recently there's been a bit of a thing in the UK press because some dickhead or rather complained about some of the Olympics coverage, because a couple of the sport women, as it happens, who were covering the Olympics as presenters have regional accents, and he objected to this. What a knob. Anyway, so there were some good articles around about accents, and I find it fascinating because obviously as an actress we do talk about accents, but it's a really very minor part of what we do in drama school. However, I've got a very funny story to tell you. When I graduated from drama school, I moved to a place called Walthamstow in East London, which I love. And the first thing I did was went to go get a job at my local pub. I think it was called the Goose. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I sat down with the landlord for my interview, and I said, oh, I've just graduated from drama school, just looking for a bit of casual work while I, get on my feet, need to go to auditions. And his eyes lit up, and he immediately went, oh, everyone tells me I should be on stage. They always say I should be on stage because I can do accents. And I was like, okay. And I kid you not, he proceeded for the next 20 minutes to take me on a round the world tour of all the accents that he could do, which were many and varied, and some were very good and some were not. Anyway, he clearly thought this was some kind of magical skill that he could take on stage, and I just remember being entirely baffled and a little bit offended as well, because I thought, wow, is that what people think acting is? Just doing accents? Because, if only it were that easy. Anyway, I got the job, worked at the pub, and I think, I don't know, maybe he was a bit embarrassed because I rarely ever saw him again, and he never tried out his kind of accents on me again, thank God. Probably saw the look on my face. So yeah, accents, interesting, aren't they? And as an actor, accents are super interesting because there's a perception that we go to drama school to learn to speak properly, which is not true. We do voice work, and we do voice over work, and we do singing, and that is all to do with the, how we speak, and obviously interpreting text and characters and so on and so forth. Accents, we did a little bit of voiceover work, which includes voiceovers for animations and games, and within that you could create characters, and maybe those characters had accents, but it was more about voice quality than actually kind of regional or international accents. So we did a little bit on accents. We did, for example, a play which was set in Chile, I think. Yes. And that director wanted us to kind of come up with the South American Spanish accent. We did another play which was set in the Fens. The Fens, I think the play was called The Fens, which is kind of Cambridge, Peterborough area, Norwich, that side of England. And we did all have to study that accent as well. But generally, it wasn't like a major part of drama training. The interesting thing is that in the olden days, yes, you would be expected to speak BBC English or Queen's English or received pronunciation. And if you go back and look at old television programmes, that's what people spoke, and that's how actors were trained to speak as well. But that is not what happens in drama school and hasn't for decades. The reason is that regional accents are, well, it's a fashion, I guess, it's a trend, but it's a trend that's continued to go upwards, because the reason we want regional accents is that we want to trust the person speaking. And there was a survey done, gosh, it was the 80s, 90s, about which accents were the most trustworthy. And regional accents became really popular in advertising and marketing and on telephone lines and voiceovers and radio commercials. Oh, there's my phone, I'm just going to turn it off. So regional accents are where it's at, and there is no drama school in the world that would tell you to get rid of your regional accent. Instead, embrace it and love it. So regional accents are where it's at. Then we have accents for people that have English as their second language, or third or fourth or fifth language. And I know some people can feel really self-conscious about that. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit. I'm going to come on in a moment, just check my time there, on the practical things you can do if you're afraid of people not understanding your accent, or if you're feeling a bit self-conscious. Let me just say this though, and I really want to hammer this home and reiterate this is so important. Your accent is a part of you. Your accent is a part of who you are. It tells a story, your history, where you come from, where you live, and therefore is authentically, genuinely, brilliantly you. So please, please, stop being self-conscious. Start embracing that the accent is a wonderful part of the wonderful you. And all this really old-fashioned, traditional nonsense of speaking properly is just that, it's nonsense. We all speak our own language, and language by its very nature is dynamic. It's one of the reasons I love languages. And I love accents. I literally, I would like to be that man in My Fair Lady who can pick up where people are from accents. And I used to think I could do that. I don't. But I do still listen to people's voices when I meet them and think, oh, where do I know from? Anyway, so let's talk about things you can do in order to be understood, because that's really what we're talking about, isn't it? So embrace your accent, keep it, but bear in mind a few things. One is that native speakers, so for example English, speak very quickly. And it is likely that with your accent, whatever it may be, you speak very quickly. So everybody needs to learn to slow down. That is just a fact of being understood and has nothing to do with your accent. It's the same if English is your second or third language. What happens when we speak another language, and I speak too, I'm bilingual, is that if we're feeling a bit, let's say, not sure, insecure, self-conscious about our second language, perhaps it's just that bit more of an effort than our first language, we tend to speak very quickly, partly to imitate native speakers who speak very quickly, and partly to get the words out there before any mistakes can be spotted. So we all have a tendency to speak quickly, and we all need to slow down. So, whatever your accent, wherever you're from, remember that in order to be understood, you need to slow down. And that's particularly important if you're doing something like a presentation, a training, a video, a live, and anything where you want people to listen and understand what you're saying. I've done a mini training on this before because slowing down has lots of other benefits as well, like eliminating ums and ahs. And people think that having pauses and moments of silence in speech is somehow wrong. It's not. The other thing that happens when you have an accent, whatever accent it may be, is that you get your musculature gets a bit lazy. So you might have, you will have lazy speech habits, and some of them will be because of your accent. So famously, Londoners have a glottal stop where they don't pronounce a double T. So they don't have bottles, they have bottles. And I'm trying to think of other words now, I can't think of anything. And there are other accents that have other kind of lazy forms of speech. And what happens is that your tongue gets lazy, and your tongue is a muscle that we use without thinking. So the other thing you can do in order to enunciate, which is what you need to be clear in your language, again, nothing to do with accents, it's just being clear in the way you speak, no matter how you pronounce the words. In order to enunciate, you need to move these muscles, but you also need to warm up your tongue. Best thing to do in the entire world is tongue twisters. Tongue twisters, by their very nature, make you pronounce the words properly. And of course, the more you improve, the faster you get, because your muscles start to wake up and get used to this new way of enunciating. Okay, so nothing to do with how you pronounce things, it's to do with enunciating. So it's making the words clear. Now I sound a bit weird because I'm over-enunciating. Okay, I have for you tips on slowing down and the benefits. There's a warm up your best voice in 5 minutes or less in the guides, which includes tongue twisters and lots of other ways to warm up your voice as well. These are all beneficial for anybody who's doing any kind of video or, as I said, training or presentation. And whatever accent you may have, it is going to be beneficial for you to wake up your muscles, do some tongue twisters, slow down and enunciate. Just like being heard is not to do with volume, being understood is not to do with accent. Your accent is beautiful wherever you're from, and you should embrace it, and people will love it, and people will trust it because it's part of you. I love accents. So be proud, be you, embrace your accent, and instead of being worried about whether people can understand your accent, think about enunciating, slowing down, and being super clear in your speech. Okay, I've come in at 40 minutes. I've got a minute left. I'm just going to double check to see if I've got any more comments. It's highly unlikely. Facebook seems to disapprove of me. And just going to ask if anyone has any questions before I go. And again, I hope I'll be able to see them, but let me know here. I used to be really good at accents. I used to love doing lots of different accents. Accents I can't do are Scottish and weirdly American. I find American accents really difficult. And I've had jobs where I've had to do accents. I got hired to be a Swedish woman speaking English because I am Swedish, that's my other language. It was so hard because I don't have a Swedish accent, so I had to channel my mum, who has a really strong Swedish accent. And I've also got a job as someone from Northern Ireland, from Rathpool. And again, I think I spoke to my mother-in-law, who's from Belfast, to get a grip on that accent. But nowadays, I think it's because of my age and my terrible memory. I just don't seem to have the brain space for accents anymore. So I tend to avoid doing accents anymore. Although I do funny voices for my kids when I'm reading them bedtime stories. But yes, I used to be great at accents, but not so much anymore. But you know what? For me, if you want to hire an actor, if you want to hire someone with an accent, because that character needs an accent, then there are plenty of actors out there who can do it. So, no need to worry. And on that note, time's up. On that note, if you're feeling self-conscious about your accent, particularly if English is your second, third, fourth, fifth language, then think about those poor actors who are trying to emulate you. Because there will be people all over the world who have to play, a Dutch person, a French person, a Ghanaian person, a Jamaican person, and haven't a clue and have to go and study your accent. So be you, be proud, love your accent, because we all do. Right, that's me, over and out. Enough on accents. If you have any questions in the replay, pop them down, tag me so that I see them and I come bob over and help you. Hope you're having a wonderful day.